And I don't know Madison Cawthorn. I'm not a lawyer, but I would probably say in the legal world, they would say he's not a credible witness.
You weren't attending orgies with fellow members of Congress?
In my 6 years in Congress, I never heard of such thing, was never had hints of such things. But again, this is, obviously if it was, it'd be a bad thing. But this is a guy that maybe he's trying to deflect, I don't know. But the problem is, when you have people like that in the party, you get away from the values of what the GOP is supposed to be.
Former Representative Will Hurd there is having to answer a question that many Republicans are answering about Madison Cawthorn and his accusations of cocaine-fueled orgies that happened with the people that he always looked up to, that he now works with. Now where everyone's trying to figure out who are these people, and is Cawthorn just a liar? So in case you missed it, this is the things that he did say. Watch again.
The sexual perversion that goes on in Washington. I mean, being kind of a young guy in Washington, but the average age is probably 60 or 70. And I look at all these people, a lot of them that I've looked up to through my life. I've always paid attention to politics, guys that, then all of a sudden you get invited to, like, well, hey, we're gonna have kind of a sexual get together at one of our homes. You should come. And I'm like, what did you just ask me to come to? Yeah. And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy. Yeah. Or the fact that there's some of the people that are leading on the movement to try and remove addiction in our country, and then you watch them do keep up with cocaine right in front of you, and it's like, wow, this is wild.
It's so wild. It's crazy wild, says Madison Cawthorn. Republicans that have been asked about this, they had a meeting and everything, and they keep having to respond as to what it is that he's talking about. They're not very happy. Let's go into some of these details here. So there's backlash. It was so severe that the House GOP leader, Kevin McCarthy, he told his conference that he plans to speak with Cawthorn about the allegations, which to me means nothing, because he also said he's going to speak to Marjorie Taylor Greene. He said he's going to speak to Paul Gosar. He said he's going to speak to what's that idiot, Lauren Boebert. He said he's going to speak to everyone. And after speaking to them, they give him middle finger and they move on and keep doing it. Next, also, here's more from the fallout. It does paint the picture here that isn't accurate, Dan Crenshaw said. He says, name names. Let's see who he hangs out with. Also, Crenshaw went on to say, I don't even know what to make of it anymore, man. I'm just kind of exhausted by it. Okay, understandable. Representative Scott Perry, the reason we're talking about him is because he is he's the chair of the ultra-conservative House Freedom Caucus, and Madison Cawthorn belongs to that. And he said he plans to speak with him as well on a one-on-one about the incendiary comment. Perry further indicated that Cawthorn should identify the individuals he alleges engaged in that behavior, because this Freedom Caucus is way too tight. This is what he went on to say. I think it is important, if you're gonna say something like that, to name some names. He said this in a brief interview. Another Freedom Caucus member who also addressed Cawthorn on a condition of anonymity, he described the responses from across the political spectrum saying, what the hell? First off, watch your mouth, unknown Freedom Caucus member. You guys are the conservative Christian wing of our Congress. Also, more from this, more fallout. I don't know anything about what Madison Cawthorn references, what Jim Jordan said. He's the leader of the rightmost flank of the conference that includes Cawthorn. I've heard about it. I haven't seen the video. It's okay, we'll tell you about it, Jim. Also, Senator Richard Byrd, the soon to retire senior US Senator from North Carolina, Madison Cawthorn State. He criticized his penchant for drama on Tuesday, and he asked about Cawthorn's performance so far. Byrd told CNN that's for his constituents to figure out, but clearly he's been an embarrassment at times. They are not happy with Madison Cawthorn. They already weren't happy with Madison Cawthorn before when he was doing his normal antics, but now he's included them on it. And in response to this, I'm not sure if it was a response, Madison Cawthorn hasn't said much except for this tweet, unless he said something this morning. Here's his tweet from yesterday: signal, not noise. People said that's a cryptic tweet. I don't know what the hell it means. Do you know what it means?
I wish I knew what it means, but honestly, I gotta say, I find it pretty hilarious that you have all these Republicans out there saying, all right, Madison, tell us who's having the parties, man. Could you just, like, where's this at? Did you got to name names, man? Because we need to know. Listen, if these are all consenting adults, there's actually nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, you can go have your crazy wild sex parties and that's up to you, whatever. But I would think if Madison Cawthorn were not telling the truth, I think they would have just blown this off, to be perfectly honest. I think Republicans would be like, wow, this dude's a nut job, forget about it, who cares? Move on and let the story die. But they're taking this very seriously to the point where it does lead me to believe like maybe there's something to this. Maybe they're mad that I guess a secret got leaked out. I know Madison Cawthorn, again, guys lied about his own history. Right. So surely he would easily lie about other people. So it does make it hard to gauge which one to believe. But Republicans are making such a big deal out of it that it kind of tells me that maybe there is something to this. And of course, it does seem like plenty of them really are desperate to find out who is having these parties and maybe why they're not being invited to it.
Well, maybe the thing is like they're falling victim to this new wing of the Republican Congress is them pushing these wild claims, and then someone has to answer for it. Now, when Democrats or even progressives talk about things that are really happening or the performance of many of these Congress people, that's when they'll let things blow over. Is what I think. Now, when it comes to something like this is what people always respond to because it's such wild accusations. And now it's coming down on themselves and they feel this whole house is like crumbling around them and they have to do something about it because now people might believe it because everyone believes Republicans for some reason. Still might as well believe Madison Cawthorn here. I almost love seeing it happen because they benefit from it so much to distract and to make people believe all these wild accusations just to get people to vote in their favor. And now that it's not working for them, they want some names. There's names now. Or maybe some phone records, maybe a 7-hour gap. I don't know.
We're also talking about a Congress that has people like Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz in it. So is it really out of the realm of possibility that there's crazy drug-fueled sex parties? Definitely not. I mean, Gaetz himself has already been accused of these kinds of things, being investigated for it, not convicted. So, we wait the process out. But this isn't a wholly new thing, that has come about here. In fact, God, I've been in this game so long that you think back, the old Republican conventions, in 2004 and 2008, they would actually bring in, not the convention itself, but the cities would see an influx of prostitutes because they knew we've got this clientele coming in, this convention is here. We had covered it on Ring of Fire way, 17, 18 years ago when it was actually happening. So there's precedent for this, I guess is what I'm saying. Like this is a thing that is not out of the realm of possibility. But given the source, you also have to treat it exceptionally skeptically. But we've seen behavior from these members that we have now that weren't necessarily there, 6, 7 years ago. So who knows what it's become today?
All I'm gonna say is until they disprove it, I trust Madison Cawthorn. He's a Christian. He's a law-abiding citizen. He's a Christian American and a conservative. Believe him.